Sunday morning. Here we are. You are live. Yay. So we're live on Facebook and on YouTube right now. Hi, everybody, whoever's listening. I'll give everybody a few minutes to hop on. It's Sam over here. This is another episode of Self-Care is My Job. Hi, Lynn. I have a really good friend with me here this morning. Her name is Lynn Veenstra, and I'm very excited to be talking with her. We'll talk about how we met. We'll talk about what she does and all that I've learned from her in regards to the mind-body connection. How are you doing today, Lynn?
Awesome. Just
Good.
waiting for snow to start coming in, right?
I know. It's like that. I literally just said that the last time I was doing another interview, and it was like, actually, it was only that little bit that was like week or the week before or something, which I was just like, oh my God, I like snow for like skiing, and stuff like that. But like, then I'm always saying, oh, I have to take my kids out to play in the snow. Like when it snows, and I just,
Those days. But I'm super excited. This is going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
And, we've gotten to know each other and just excited for this conversation.
Good. Let me just tag you on Facebook. That's what I'm doing right now so that it shows up as many places as possible, right? We get to share. Here we are. I'm checking. I can see that we're live on Facebook. So exciting to be able to just like reach out to everybody.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to tag you. Give me 1 second. This is, I almost feel like it makes me more comfortable when I go live because it's like, I know that people are understanding that this needs to happen, live and on the spot. All right, very good. Saving. And here we are. Very nice. Okay. I figured it out. We're on your feed. So yeah, I'm just gonna like let you kind of take the floor in a moment, and I want to know like, what you do, but like how this came to be for you as well too, right? Like kind of like not only your entrepreneurial journey, but how did this passion develop for you? Like how did this become your purpose kind of thing? Because Lynn is a lifestyle coach and a business strategist that works with health coaches to get really, really specific about their purpose, and obviously help to promote women's wellness as a whole. So this is how we came to know each other. So yeah, tell us, how did this happen for you?
Okay. Well, yeah. I was an accountant for 25 years and something was missing. And I always had a passion for health, wellness, movement, loved working out, even had my own struggles with food. And so it was just, it was a blessing to shift careers into health and wellness. I went to integrative nutrition, learned a lot. I think a lot of it was for me. And then also then people that I've helped in the past, and I just love anything health and wellness. I feel like I'm like this health and wellness junkie because, there's so many, I love connecting with women that have this same passion, but everybody has something different inside of them and different gifts. So for me, I really love connecting women to each other. So it has taken me through different, being a health coach, personal training, actually energy work as well, and just learning a lot about myself and how then I can turn that around and help other people. And right now it is, I've gone through also a business journey of really diving into how people can build their businesses online. And that's where when I started working with health coaches and teaching them that they could, take better care of themselves by spending less time utilizing, these amazing platforms that we have, and also being able to take better care of themselves. It comes back to just exactly what you teach, the self-care, because if we're not taking care of ourselves first, then we cannot put that vibration out and help other people take care of themselves. So yeah, it's been my whole journey. And again, I really then shifted into, I actually had Epstein-Barr and Lyme along my journey. And
Mm,
my destination that I've hit recently is working in mental wellness, because it's more preventative, because we all want to live optimally. And what it has come down to, and it goes back to my 10 years of learning a little bit about gut health in integrative nutrition. And what we know now is so much more, but it's still so little. It is what the pieces are all starting to come together as to how our gut and our brain are connected, and how they, having this strong electrical system that syncs the two together. And so many people think that, things originate up here, but they're actually all starting in our gut, because that's where our serotonin and our dopamine are. They are created. And if we don't have a healthy microbiome, and our gut health isn't healthy, then our brain's not going to be healthy. And there's something called the vagus nerve, and it's what connects the two together. And if that electrical system, that's our electrical system between the two, and if that's not healthy too, and like firing up, there's a disconnect, and it affects
mm,
every part of our body. It's so amazing. When I was introduced to this, the protocol that I use, and all the concepts around it, products, programs, people, I was like, my brain fog was gone in 2 days, and I had massive brain fog from having Lyme. So that's where this journey has taken me. It's where my passion has like really amped up. And then the whole business side too, because I want to help people, really optimize their calling and their health. So it's a good balance right there.
yeah. Oh my goodness, it's so perfect because that's the thing is like we to live optimally, which I love, just that concept that you put out there, can mean different things for different people at different seasons of their life. But the truth is, like, for that optimal life, right? That's personal to you, like for what you want, not like what you're supposed to be doing or what your parents want or what your, partner wants or whatever it is, what you really want. It needs to start from a more granular level of getting well within yourself, that concept, that general concept of wellness, so that you can then build in the piece of your purpose and then grow into that fulfillment, that true, like optimal living, like authentically, which is why we are so aligned with what we do. Another thing that you said was, talking about, I love when things like come together, and we were just chatting before we hopped on, when things come together almost metaphorically. It's, whatever might be the musician songwriter in me that enjoys a good metaphor or a good catch line. But the concept of that vagus nerve, right? And that electrical system through the body, and the connection between your gut, your heart as well, and your
Yes.
brain literally being the same concept of as when we talk about mind, body, spirit. We talk about mind, body, spirit all the time. And sometimes it's a really like vague, confusing concept for people. Like, okay, guys, mind, body, spirit, yay. Like, but if you really think about it, that is what this is. We are talking about a literal access, a literal connection within you between your gut, which is again further connected to your energy systems, your chakras. Like, so the yogi in me has to bring that up. The
Yeah.
fact that your gut is connected, that is your solar plexus. That is where your drive, your determination, your creativity, your passion, your fire, and your confidence lives in your solar plexus. That's your gut. So I'm like looking down. Um, but so think about the enhancement of that through gut health, and then again the electrical system that allows that wellness to travel upward, And the last thing I'll say, as far as like, we talk about mind, body, spirit, and we talk about whether you're actually, one of the things that I've been on lately is like whether you're in this disconnected state in your life, or whether you're, I think for me personally, my opinion is like the next level on the way to that optimal lifestyle is first self-awareness. But
Absolutely.
how on earth can we become self-aware until two things happen? You said it before, pausing, being present, like just, using that muscle, working that muscle of like having a presence practice and like being able to pause. How can we even do that though if we're walking around with a total brain fog where we're totally unfocused, we're only reacting, we're allowing our nervous system to completely take control of our lives and we're not in control of it. We're just reacting to the one thing and the next thing and da da da, and you're in the matrix pretty much. Like that's it. No control. So the first step, I think, to that taking control of your wellness as the whole from top to bottom, right, is that self-awareness. But we have to like quiet all that other bullshit. We have to get out of our head and into our body. Again, it's like I talk about this in my yoga classes constantly. Get out of this whirlwind of thoughts and into your body. Another complete connection of like it's proven now, like it is fact, it is science, that the body has so much play. It's not just your wires are crossed or whatever, all these little things we like to say. So it's so important to become aware of what is going on inside of you. And it's also, you mentioned movement being, coming into play. And I love that. I'm more of like, admittedly, from a wellness, and coaching mentality, I am more like, I'm totally on the side of I'm going to move as much as I need to so that my mindset and my mental state is good. Because when you don't move and you don't get enough of that physical self-care, of course your mental state and your mindset are going to suffer. If you're achy, if you're tired, if you have exhaustion in your body and you have tension in your body, there's no way that you could feel optimal in your mind. So I say that only because you have like, I've seen your journey of like fitness and nutrition, and like, you really incorporate a lot of that movement and physical self-care. And I'm over here like, I'll do what I need to do to make sure I'm good up here, you know?
You know what? I mean, yes, that has definitely been my journey, and love hardcore fitness. But
Yeah.
I'm at a stage where my body's saying, you got to listen more. So after Lyme, it took my energy away too. And so I have to listen more now, because otherwise I could shut myself down for a day if I go too hard. This says go, 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 but body's saying you got to, step back. So it's actually having that awareness to know what it is that's going to give you that optimal health. If I wear myself out with a really hard workout, that's not gonna, it's gonna just play on my mind, my body, everything. But I also look at it too, like you were talking about, that quiet, and that quiet comes in. So we're here and we know we have this calling inside of us and we want to be there. Right now we're sitting in this gap. And that gap requires that quiet, that listening. It requires surrender to some things too. Maybe surrendering to what's not serving you, surrendering to, letting go of things that are holding you back. There's so much in that gap to get you to that there, because you're building that person in this gap that is going to step into that bigger calling. And so, but all of this goes into that, the self-care, the mind-body connection, taking care of our gut health. And because when our gut's healthy, our mind is going to be so much more on point, and we're going to be able to take care of ourselves better. I mean, have you ever just not felt good, and you just want to stay in bed all day. And it's part because, our gut health is really not functioning well. And if we can't take care, like I know when I had Lyme and had massive brain fog, I had to keep a checklist of all the stuff I had to do, because otherwise I wouldn't remember it and I wouldn't do it. Because it doesn't happen when we are not really taking care of ourselves.
Right. It's really also an interesting concept. So you mentioned before gut health, just for the people who are listening who like need just a little bit more of an explanation of like, what are we really talking about? Like you mentioned before, the serotonin. Wait, what was the other thing? Serotonin, and what else is generated in the gut?
And
Dopamine. I'm like,
all your neurotransmitters are actually found in your gut.
yes. Yes. So again, we have this concept. I feel like we have this illustration, this concept of all your wires in your head, right? Being running the whole show. And I think there are still a lot of people who it takes, like sometimes it really is like it's just this story that you're told that is like planted in your head of like, I got my wires crossed, or like, like I must be Looney Tunes up here. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. It's just about, I don't even like the word balance, but it's about like, it's really about getting into your body and doing what's needed. So dopamine and serotonin are going to be responsible for, right? Like dopamine is like pleasurable, like, happiness, right? I don't know where the word pleasure came from, but sounds good. But and then your serotonin is for calm. It's for peace.
And
doesn't it sound like, right then and there, it's like, I think we all need a little bit of both of those. And then it's
I love the illustration of like you have a gut feeling, because or you have butterflies in your stomach. You know what?
Seriously.
It just makes total sense. That whole
that's your energetic body saying something to you. So it's like you can go even deeper. You balance your gut health. And, for me, and we're both on this, I know we're in the same, we're in the same world with this too, of like, I am very big on intuition nowadays, like that self-awareness and what, like why that piece of self-awareness is so important to me is because I am mostly about helping women get to a place of awareness so that they can start taking that pause and listening to their body and listening to that gut feeling and trusting it. Because when you build that muscle, you build your self-trust, you build your confidence while you're, it's all connected. And then once we get to that place, then we can move into our purpose without giving two shits about what everybody else is saying, what everybody else likes, doesn't like. You know what I mean? Like what their expectations are, what their standards are, right? Like we have, it makes total sense when you have that mental clarity and you could just like weed through all of that. That's when you can really move forward in life. It's the same concept of like letting go of, like you said, letting go of what does not serve you. How can we do that if we're foggy and we can't really see the forest through the trees? We can't really see what is not serving us because we're just in this cycle. But we get inside our body and we correct some imbalances, pretty much is what we need to do.
And then what's the flip side of not? I listen to, I speak with so many women that they're so unfulfilled and they don't know what's missing. So to, sitting and taking the time for yourself first. I mean, if I go back to when my kids were little, you sit in that overwhelmed mom stage, and then you go through this part of your life, and you put everything into your family and your kids. And a lot of times what we're doing is, we're like shelving our own desires. Like, they're put over there till later. And then all of a sudden the kids move out of the house, and, they're off, they're very independent now, off doing their own thing. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, who am I? And what do I want? And you don't know
Yeah.
where to start. And a lot of, we have to learn to start with ourselves. And I think so when I went through that shift, I was in my mid 40s, and that's when my oldest child was going to college. I'm like, oh my gosh, now it's time to connect to me. But I didn't know who me was. So it's been an amazing journey. But yeah, for the women out there that are sitting in that place, they're like, I know there's more inside of me. I know, I want to do this and I want to do that. Just do, step out, take care of yourself first, and you'll start to listen.
That's what I always say too, is like, if you're looking for how, there's no really like perfect how, plan, anything. You just have to take one small step forward into self-care, whether, even if you don't know which form of self-care it is, it could be this. It could be, let me take better care of my body, whether that is balancing my gut health, whether that is incorporating 20 minutes of yoga twice a week. Like, it could be small things that have huge impact, micro practices of self-care, taking on something, and also being mindful of not reaching out for, the media's version of self-care that is sold to every single woman in this world, of like your retail therapy and your, get your hairs did and your nails did, and treat yourself and all that. And it's like, is it doing the trick? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel good? Do you feel or do you feel exhausted? Are you foggy? Are you unfocused? And then you come into this place of, because I did this, and I we're talking about how so many moms specifically like wait until they're, till the kids leave the house to start focusing on themselves. I'm sitting here right now and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm really, really lucky that shift happened to me pretty early, pretty much. And it happened because I was laid off before I even had my daughter. So the career piece was like very abruptly taken away from me, that I couldn't like that wasn't my personality anymore. That wasn't my life whole focus anymore. And now I had this motherhood label that I'm like, well, I don't really know how to do this yet. And I'm not really that good at this yet. So like, who the hell am I? But anyway, I'm actually pretty lucky that I think that there are pieces of there are parts of my personality that made it necessary for me to focus on personal growth and even spiritual growth from that moment of life transition, that made me slowly but surely realize, oh no, like I have to take care of me in order for me to show up for everyone else as my whole self. If I went the other way, it was actually so not only draining in all those ways that we already mentioned, but we end up as mothers, I think, then putting all of our efforts into motherhood, right? Into perfecting motherhood and doing it to the best of our possible, optimizing not our lives, but motherhood, right? And it's like, okay, so how much perfectionism can you put into that one thing in your life and then still feel, because there's no way. Mothering is so hard, right? Like, so there's no way you're going to feel at the end of the day. I challenge any mom to contact me now and go, oh no, at the end of the day, I feel like I am like, oh, look, as my son is like screaming upstairs, like I did it perfectly, 100%. No friggin' way. We all challenge, we all shame or guilt ourselves at the end of the day in some way, shape, or form where we're like, oh, like, like I got to do that better or whatever. I shouldn't have done that or whatever it is. But if we take it from the opposite perspective where we put ourselves first, it's a completely different thing because we don't have to fall into that like guilt and shame and like how am I can't even fix it because I'm exhausted and all of this. So it really is about taking that step forward into self-care. And even if you don't know what it is specifically for you, try something, see what
Yeah.
feels good. But more importantly, take that pause so that you can maybe feel it out, like pause and listen. Because, yeah, you're not going to know. But it's like, okay, really pause and listen. What does my body need? What is my what do I need right now? Mental health, physical health, or spiritual health, or emotional health? Like, what's most necessary? But we can't become aware. We can't become self-aware if we're just living in that whirlwind, you know?
Yeah, no, I remember those days. I mean, I felt like I would get out of bed in the morning, which was usually really early at like 4:30, and hit the ground running, and felt like I was on autopilot all day until I hit the pillow at who knows what hour because I was taking
Yeah.
care of everybody else. But yeah, the awareness is huge. You want to go to bed at night and appreciate what you did, have that gratitude as to what you did do that day, not dwell on what you didn't do, so that you
Yeah.
wake up in that same mindset, like in appreciation and in gratitude, because it's going to go a lot further. And I
Yeah.
think another big thing is, we have so much at our fingertips with social media, but to be mindful on social media as well. Who are you connecting to? And maybe it's just connecting to a like-hearted group that you can really, you feel like real in alignment with, that you're going, like your self-care group, really diving into that. You don't have to stay there, right? It's like you
Yeah,
can
exactly. You're
find the
not
group.
committed to anything. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think community is really huge. And I think women thrive on community, being a part of something, that's bigger than themselves, whether it's, in certain groups or, even in their life's work.
Right. You have to find something that's just for you.
Yeah.
Um, I also think, I've been saying this a lot lately, like that personal growth. I don't, if it makes you uncomfortable, sorry, but and
Yeah.
finding something for you, that type of growth, it's actually spiritual growth. Like it is about coming back to yourself, and that is self-care in itself, like connecting with a tribe, like we talk about, like find your tribe, right, type of thing. Finding something that's related to whatever you're passionate about or your calling is. Like for me, when I had that major shift in my life, not only was it music, but I started my wine business. I mean, yeah, do I like wine? Sure, I like wine a lot. But most of the reason why I started that business was for like the overall fulfillment. And then what I ended up getting was a tribe, was a group of like-minded women who not only liked wine, yes, but liked like really, they all were either mothers or whether they're working mothers or stay-at-home mothers, had your career or didn't, or had your own interests and passions. And then this addition too, all were women who were doing something for them, whether it was for financial, purposes, still totally valid and awesome, whether it was fulfillment, whether it was for just the friendship and the fun, whatever it was. It's like you're doing something for you. Those little baby actions, like they send a message to your brain that whatever you're drawn to, listen to that. And so you're prioritizing yourself. And like that message is embedded now in your head. You're worthy of doing it. Um, we can go down the line of like talking about how mothers in general, like we feel like we have to sacrifice ourselves, and it's just not accurate. It's
Yeah.
actually a complete story that's been passed on to us for generations that we have to find a way to let go of. Um, but yeah, and I want to note to what you mentioned about, noticing the things that you did achieve and celebrating those things. I have to I, I'm I'm going to admit here and now, I have to work on that a lot with myself. Always, continually. Just like so many other things. Like I'll go through stages where I'm like not don't care about the outcome of anything. And then I'll go through also stages where I'm like the biggest perfectionist in the world. I'm procrastinating, I'm overthinking, and that self-awareness just has to come in and allow you to sort of check yourself a little bit, to take inventory. But so like how do you notice what you actually did achieve so that you can have that gratitude for your own, you know, for your own self, for your own, achievements and accomplishments, and have that self-worth, if we're just not even really mentally clear to have that moment of pause and presence.
Well,
So it's like I just bring it back to that because it's that mind body connection that we have to have.
and it also is, the awareness is also evaluation, you know,
Yeah.
to, because if we sit in emotion all the time, we're not going to go there. But if we can take the emotion out of it and evaluate where we're at, whatever it is, whether, whatever your goals are or whatever you want to get done in a day or a week, you can just, when I took a digital marketing class, they had us evaluate, because otherwise you get caught up in, oh, well, this ad didn't work, and nobody's liking my ad, nobody's commenting, and when you start getting into building a business on social media, you can really sit in the emotional part, and it could really shut you down, take your confidence away. But if you can pull yourself to this place of about evaluating it, you ask yourself three questions: what three things are working, what three things are not, and what's one thing that I can do differently to look for a different outcome, so that
Mm,
can um, you can see what you can change to do better. But you're not sitting in like this place of like, oh, I stink, I can't do this. Instead it's like, okay, what might I do better? So it's
right,
with everything, with your health, it's with your career, with your household. What's not working in your household? Are the kids like not doing anything and you're doing everything? So what might you do
right,
differently? you
right.
know
I just had this experience because one of the things that, I like I say, always, I'm surrounded by a very amazing network of wellness professionals and just friends and women like yourself who are charged up and ready to bring shit to my attention. And I am so fucking thankful for that. Like, let me say that here and now. So I have another friend who she's a psychotherapist. Actually, she's been on the show as well. She's a psychotherapist and a like a find your purpose coach, and she's awesome. And she did like a declutter your mind and space challenge. So I was just kind of like making the connection because I saw it and I was like, yep. I'm like, so I'm able to come to awareness without judging myself now. And it's aligned with what you were just saying, because the concept of a growth mindset is what did that for me. I, from just, a lot of different mentors and people that I follow, like discovered the concept like a couple of years ago. It's just the concept that like everything is growth, like every challenge or mistake or complete disaster or failure that happens to you, whatever it is all growth opportunity. It's all an opportunity to learn. So instead of shitting on yourself and shaming yourself and guilting yourself, I suck, all of that, or I'm just no good at this, it's always, how can I learn? But we need that mental clarity to actually answer that question and then take it into action. So when I saw this like declutter challenge, I was like, okay, absolutely, the clutter in my house is giving me anxiety. And it was like a really nice example of like how coaching works, because like bringing it in, bringing the conversation to your business a little bit here, because it's kind of like that self-awareness. Like, a person, I think, needs to be at least on the way to self-awareness, like willing to start shining a light on some of these topics. If we're still in the state, like if you're still in a state of complete disconnection, we need to start more bare bones of like, let's just start incorporating small forms of self-care, which is what I really like to do, and see what works for people. Like, come up with like a little prescription even for like your self-care toolbox. But once we come into self-awareness, a coach or a mentor on some hand can come in, and it's all it really is like this huge, massive amount of empowerment. Like, here we go. Push you off. All you need to become is self-aware, and everything else is all empowerment, which we all need. We all need support. You are not doing this life by yourself. You are not doing this life by yourself. That optimal living we're talking about does not have to be a one-woman show. You need support. I don't care if it's somebody to watch your kids for an hour or two support, or whether it's a straight up lifestyle coach who's going to come in, or a business strategist, or any kind of mentor in that way, who's going to come in and help you get focused, which, by the way, Lynn has been doing low key for me over the last 6 months, like low key coaching me, which I'm so grateful for again. But right? Like, it was just a good example. I was like, okay, so I'm totally aware of these things, but I need somebody to come in and empower me to actually put this shit into action, to learn from the things that I'm becoming aware of. Okay, this is a pattern for me. This is a trigger for me. This is something that I come up against again and again. I become aware of it. Sometimes it's not always so clear what the next steps are, but I need support to get there, and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like I was talking about earlier, whether you're finding it in a group or with a coach. I mean, I invest in myself and coaches all the time, because the coaches just help me take things to that next level and bring more awareness, and they can break down those walls, because a lot of times we hit that wall of fear, and we have to walk through it to get to that joy on the other side. So, coaches, and the people you surround yourself with. I mean, I have an amazing team of women around me that are, they call me out when I'm sitting behind that wall of fear. Like, what's stopping you right now? And so you have these people that surround you that, help you up level and be a better person and step further into your calling, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's so important to have those people surrounding you. So yeah, that's another point of self-awareness. Like, who are you surrounding yourself with?
Yeah.
Do they make you feel good? Do they promote, Right, exactly. Like, let's just stay here for the rest of the day. That's self-care Sunday for me. But it is a really good point. I mean, I'm never somebody, I don't really like the whole concept of like, oh, if you got somebody in your life who doesn't support you, or like doesn't make you feel good or whatever, cut them out. Like, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I think it's easier said than done, especially depending on who you're talking about and your relationships and everything. But it is something to be mindful of, what, again, like, you don't have to do this life alone. And you also get to choose who the people are that are going to really have an effect. You are in control of the people who have an effect on your, thought patterns and everything. And again, let go of what does not serve you. If it's not helping you to grow as an individual, let that show.
True. I mean, they say that the 5 people you surround yourself with is who you become.
Yeah. 100%.
So
100%.
yeah,
Um,
think
I'm
about that. Listen to that
yeah,
again, right?
plant that seed in somebody's head, right? So it's really not just about, I mean, it all comes down to that. It really does. I'm happy that I think the world is sort of evolving to a place where like that mental wellness is paramount, right? Like people are becoming aware of that because nothing's happening if we're not. This is like step one. Like take care of your mental wellness. Um but it's just, yeah, like bringing to light the fact that I'm actually in the process of learning it, and that's why, like, this is my journey that I'm taking people on. Like I'm learning all of this as I go, and I'm trying so hard with everything else going on in life, right? With the kids, with virtual learning and all this. I'm trying so hard to practice what I preach and have as many people, even if I can just like send a ripple of inspiration to do the same out. That is that makes me happy. That's why I decided to do this show, because it's like, okay, well, let's talk about what I'm interested in, and let's talk about all these different like modalities and concepts around different ways to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. But it is all connected. There isn't like just one pill for this, one pill for this, one pill for this. It's literally all connected. You do something for one part of your wellness, and it could lead you into being able then to incorporate something else. So if you're
Mhm.
like, I want to lose weight, which so many of us have that goal, or I want to look better naked, or I want to have more mobility in my body. I want to feel better moving through my day. Um, it's totally 100% valid to feel like all this fog and exhaustion and lack of motivation that's in the mental category and that mind category obviously is connected to whether you're going to be prepared to incorporate everything else that you need for that goal, or whatever that goal is for you. So I'm just sort of bringing it back home to that mental wellness, conversation. It's so important.
Yeah, and it's so prevalent right now with what's going on in the world. There's so much anxiety, and people are losing their jobs. People are, so it's really affecting them, because any kind of trauma affects our gut health as well. So then it's going to play a role up here too, and here. Our connection,
When you
our
think
mind.
about that, when you feel anxiety, when you feel, whether it's just like anxiety about like too much shit in your house, or whether it's like the shit is hitting the fan and I feel like I'm having a heart attack, all of our digestive health is like, so many people have digestive, symptoms from that, from all
Oh,
of that mental
yes,
stuff. So
it's
that's a perfect example of listening to your body, of
mhm.
like, it's telling you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I saw things change that I didn't even expect to change. When my brain fog cleared, it allowed me to start taking better care of myself. But, it was like even hormones balanced, skin issues healed. Just, I started eating better because I could take care of myself better. So
Hmm.
it does it comes full circle. I call it like this. It's like a mental wellness ecosystem, and we have all these parts to it that are just going to make us feel better, be better, show up better, and really be that person that we see ourselves as.
Yeah. And it's not all or nothing. Like people, I love that, because it's like not one thing that you can do or will do for your mental health is like elevated over another per se. But so, and I think it's like personal what needs to happen for you first. But it's like also, and for the people who are listening who are like sometimes overwhelmed by like, where do I begin? Or like, how could I possibly incorporate all these different forms of self care? Like it doesn't have to be like that. It's one thing could then lead to another. I am 100%. So just so just so I'm, again, like sharing my journey of self-care, these products that Lynn is talking about right now, I'm planning to start like probably in the next week, because I'm moving off of like my vitamin regimen that I was taking, and I really want to try everything from a gut health perspective. perspective. So like, for example, there's all these different approaches. Like I had it in my head for a while that I needed to take all these multivitamins and supplements, which I think that I think there's value to that. And I don't think that that's another form of going that route. But again, like I've been really all about like being the root of a situation
Yeah.
instead of trying to mitigate it. Right. So, and I'm still in my process of learning about how to do that. But one of the things that I'm going to do is try these Amare products, which I 100%, plan to share my experience with. But, that all being said, it isn't like, oh, I have to start taking, my probiotics and prebiotics. I have to balance my gut health. I have to also at the same time start exercising and doing yoga every single day. I have to meditate every day. Like,
No, that throws you.
you don't have to feel that overwhelm because a little goes a long way. It's like, like now we're combating what we're trying to fix. Don't be a perfectionist about it. I guess that's my final note. Like, don't be a perfectionist about it. Don't take this all or nothing approach. A little goes a long way, and one thing leads to another. So your elimination potentially of brain fog might allow you to start organizing your life more so that you can then, for example, make time on a Sunday to meal prep so that you can then be more in control of your diet, and then you might lose weight or take on any whatever that fitness or physical goal is, if that's what it is for you. As an example, it's like we need to give ourselves that grace and that time to get there. There is no magic pill. I think I just put way too many things into my final thought, but I'm going to want to give you the opportunity to give your final thoughts as well.
The focus on mental wellness, and I mean, a lot of what you said is exactly what goes into it, or not in overwhelm.
Right.
When we focus first on our mental wellness, I mean, I have seen so many different transitions that people have gone through, and the stories just always fill my heart to see. By taking one little step of
Yeah.
working on your gut health, and actually even being surrounded by a community where everybody's doing the same thing
Yeah.
is so amazing, because it helps people to know that they're not alone, and that they're on that same journey. Some people will be a little ahead of them, some would be a little bit behind them. But when we first like tap into like really working on our gut health, connecting our brain health to it, our heart health, and knowing what's best for our bodies and taking care of ourselves first, we're just going to be able to fully show up as that amazing person that we are.
Yeah. Optimal. I want the optimal experience in this life. I don't want the half-assed version. I want the optimal version.
And you know what? It's even for like that CEO that just wants to take life to that next level. Because it's going to help him or her take lower those cortisol levels. That fight or flight, and it's going to help them feel better and let them operate at a higher level mentally. Bring
Yeah.
that mental fitness in, or that high-end athlete that wants to push it to the next level. Having that mental fitness, because our microbiome is healthy and that connection to our brain is like optimal, we can go out, that athlete could go out and push himself to run that extra half mile, or to up his speed, or to push, just to do more and be better, but mindfully.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so important. Mindfully. We do not want to throw ourselves into anything. It's like that how, right? Like maybe we can maybe you can become present enough and quiet enough to know what you want, which can in itself can be a tricky question sometimes. What you really want, not dictated by the world. But then that how is sometimes way more daunting, right? And that's where the fear comes in, and we're just like, I don't know how. But if we can eliminate and get clarity mentally, you come up with a plan, you try something new, you learn from your experiences, and you try again. And there's no, so there doesn't have to be the perfect answer, but at least you have the mental clarity to set to really formulate a plan that you're comfortable with, right? Like if we're talking about really making some major shifts in life, so I love that it will obviously help anyone in any season of life.
Yeah.
So
And it's overall. I mean, you're seeing, I mean, physically, you could be seeing more energy, sleeping better. Um, your mood is better. And even the inflammation's down in your body. So again, that athlete is going to be able to recover quicker and, you
mm,
know, hop into his workout for the next day, just feeling like so on point, ready to go. That CEO is hopping into his job and her job and can perform at a higher level. Or just, the mom that needs to really take care of herself first. It's going to allow her that because she's going to be, so much clearer. Her mood's going to be so much better. So she'll be able to even set those boundaries where she has time for herself, but then she has focused time for her kids,
mhm.
really present with kids. So again,
I think
everybody,
you nailed where I need to go.
there you go. You need to go spend some time with your kids. But this has
I
been
well,
amazing.
yes. I mean that, but in general, it is. I'm just bringing to light. It's hard to find that balance because I'm in a place where I'm like, I want to do so many things. I have so many ideas and I have so many dreams and I don't have fear anymore. I want to do all my shit. I'm ready. But
Yep.
there needs to be a system for being present and then working on me. And like it's all hello, bringing it back to self-care is my job. It's a job. Like my self-care is my job. Being a mom is a job, for another job I have. Um my business is another job I have. And again, those things can be overwhelming. You need a system for focus and for making it all work. And it's like, how can I do that if I'm like bing, 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 like all over the place. So it's totally helpful.
Absolutely. And those are things I help teach as well because we need to
Yeah.
have boundaries and it's really important so that we can go through our day, have more peace, have more joy, have fun. Because if life's not in those three categories, we're sitting in overwhelm, we're sitting in unfulfillment, and we really want peace and joy and fulfillment.
Yes. Hallelujah. All right. This
So
has been amazing. If anybody has, we're obviously this live will be posted on Facebook and will also be available in my YouTube channel. So please, please, please like, share, follow, subscribe. If you have comments, I'm sure you'll still be able to pop them down if you're watching later and you feel like you have comments or questions for us. I just checked and we didn't have anything, but if you have any questions or requests or feedback for us, we would love to hear you. Lynn, this has been awesome. It's like, again, it's the perfect segue for us to be talking about this now because starting in February, we're going to be talking about the body. I have a conversation with a lifestyle and fitness coach coming up. We're going to talk about the subtle body, energy. I'm going to probably do a talk about that of our chakra system and the relation to the nervous system, which is another big one. So we're getting out of our head and into our body now. And Lynn has given us a perfect segue to do so. So thank you.
you're
And
welcome.
yeah, we'll be back again. But can you tell us before we let you go, like just where we can find you in case anybody wants to, and then I'll put it in like the caption as well.
Yeah. Well, you can always find me on Facebook, just Lynn Veenstra. And that's probably the best place to find me because that's where I work
Yeah,
in my little marketing world and my connecting with people. So that's probably this. You can find me on Instagram as well. And, send me a DM. Yeah, just follow
perfect.
along. follow along on
Yes,
the journey.
exactly. It makes it easy, right? Thankful, people have things to say about social media, but it sure makes it easy to find people. And that's important when you're trying to build this network of people to support you.
Yeah.
So, and Lynn has been an awesome mentor for me as well. So follow her stuff. And yeah, thank you again. I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yes.
Thanks everybody for listening. I'm going to end our broadcast. So have a good day.